Hello, 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 everybody. Terry Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer here, and pop icon. I was just given that name actually because of my work on Dune 1984 and on Ghostbusters 1984 and on several movies like The Country Bears, Men in Black, etc., etc., etc. How are you today? Wonderful to talk to you. This is Terry TV. How are you? So you may have noticed that I'm talking about all kinds of subjects now, just like a television station would do. For me, this is going to be more interesting. I have a lot of things that make me think of stuff that I think will be helpful to you. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please subscribe because we're going to keep doing this. And it should be a lot of fun. Right off the top, I'm going to have to change my Ask Me Anything probably to the 24th. So you want to mark your calendars for a live Friday event, Ask Me Anything. It'll be on the 24th of this month. Reason being that one of my tribe is having a birthday and we're going to meet him at Disneyland. This is one of the things that I do, if I can, for people of Terry's tribe on Patreon. And this is what I'm doing on the 31st. So that gives the perfect segue into inviting you to join my Patreon page, Terry's Tribe. This is where you go. Check it out. $5 a month is all you'll need to be a part of Terry's Tribe. Your voice is really, really something that we need, and would love to have you as a part of it. Like I said, only $5 a month. You can put quarters in at the beginning of the month and have it all set for before the end, and help you to pay for it. But you have skin in the game, then I have skin in the game, and we meet, and it's a community of like-minded people who love to support each other, help each other, and get us, just make you all feel really good. If you're feeling, no matter how you're feeling, you're going to feel better once you've been with the tribe. I broadcast every Monday and Friday with the tribe before I come here, and then we do a Zoom call every once a week where we're all live and discussing things. So they last, I always shoot for an hour, but they end up being a couple hours. So you get a lot. I really do deliver a lot. So think about it. Dip a toe in the water for a month and then see if you like it. And if you don't, and you say, Terry, this just isn't for me, or I've got to feed my family or repair my car or whatever, we totally understand. Okay. But that's the criteria. Would love to have you. There's a private Facebook page, lots of announcements and lots going on in there. And I hope that we can connect. Okay. All right, my loves. There's that. Let's get to the chatting at hand. Okay, there we go. So snow. You'll notice that I listed a few things I wanted to talk to you about. Here in California, we have snow. And I think I capitalized it on the thumbnail because we have a ton, and I do not exaggerate, a ton of snow in areas where we usually have snow, but in areas where we don't have snow as well. Those of you who looked at my TikTok or my Instagram will see me screaming and acting really crazy as I went to get a package, my gobble package out, went to pick it up, and it snowed on me. And I was absolutely hysterical that it was snowing on me. I lost it. And I live in Burbank, so it was snowing on me in my town, which never happens. Now, people were asking me, when did it snow the last time in my town? And I think it was about 10 years ago. I'm not certain for the date. I could Google the date and tell you exactly when it did, but let's just say approximately. And it really snowed on that day. In fact, we had snowmen about this big all down my street. And it was kind of a combination of ice and snow. Those of you who are in snow know what I'm talking about. More of a gravelly, clumpy snow. But we had these little snowmen going all the way down my street because we just don't get snow this low. So it was fantastic. It was wonderful. But that brings me back to those of you who do get snow, San Bernardino County, Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead, etc., etc., etc. And the mayor came on and begged us Friday to please don't come up last weekend to see the snow because they only had one road open and they really needed it to get food supplies and to get the heavy equipment through to help open it up. He also made it very clear, the mayor of Big Bear, that this is a tourist community, meaning that tourism is what really helps them to survive. So this was paining him to tell you not to come, but to please respect him and don't come. And I thought it would be good of me to talk to you, all of the people that watch this channel, and urge you not to go up until what the mayor says is going to be after March 16th. And let me just repeat that. After March 16th, you can go up there and take, put the chains on your vehicle or whatever they ask you to. They're going to welcome you with open arms. They're going to beg you to be coming to snowboard, ski, sled, whatever you're going to do. But they're just begging you right now. They have 9 feet, 15 feet of snow. People are desperately trying to get groceries. One of the grocery stores up there, the roof collapsed, and he just couldn't open it for people because he's concerned, that grocery store owner is concerned that the walls may not be stable. He hasn't been able to get a crew there to assess the damage and how safe it is. So he can't even have workers go in because it's dangerous for the workers to get the things that might be helping the families out there. So they are having food drives around the area for people who have no food, period, end of story. So it's just going to be a mess if you go up there to look at the snow. You understand? Don't feel you're entitled to see it. Respect each other, respect these people, and wait. He says that I did hear today that there are 2 roads open. But again, they're urging you not to go up there because if a car accident should occur, or if any kind of problem should occur, number one, it blocks that road, making it impossible for those people to get the things that they need. Snow cats and things like that, right? Number 2, we had a storm yesterday and the day before. It wasn't very big, but for them, more snow. So it's kind of like, you do all this work and then the next day you wake up to another foot of snow and everything is erased and they got to do it again. And they got to do it again, and they got to do it again, because we are having record cold temperatures here in California, and they're just not getting a break. And sure enough, come Friday, we're going to have another storm, and we're going to be in the low temperatures again. Now, what they do say in the weather reports is that it will be a little bit higher elevations, but that still really doesn't help your Big Bears, your snow summits, and all of those people that are above. So please respect them. Wait till after March 16th and help them out. Send them your love by staying the heck out of their community until they ask you to come back in. And just know in your heart, guys, that this is because they're going to get you there as quickly as they can. Okay, they understand the draw of the snow, and they also understand that this would be a big season for them if they can get you in as soon as possible. They're going to have a good, profitable year for their communities. So they're not keeping you out to be mean. They're just keeping you out so that they can take care of the families that are in serious need of supplies. You follow me? I think you do. And I think you all have big hearts and good heads that you're not going to do that. But please share it with those who ignore this fact, okay? Just please. It just causes them extra concern and worry, and we don't want to do that to our friends, etc., right? We don't want to do that. So I just wanted to pop in and tell you that because it's very important. I also wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't heard, that April 3rd, California is dropping a lot of the mask mandates for COVID-19. We've had seriously low numbers, wonderfully low numbers, and they will no longer require healthcare officials to be vaccinated. And they urge you to still wear a mask when indoors just to be safe, because COVID hasn't left. We've just been really doing our due diligence as a country to keep it at bay. So still exercise your caution when you feel you need to. And April 3rd, it's going to be a lot lighter on everyone. So hopefully that won't come to bite us, because that COVID does lurk in the corners. And hopefully it means that we're getting closer and closer to making it behave. But you never know until you try some of these things, right? It's just really rough and often scary. I will tell you that I still wear a mask in big crowds because I just am more comfortable with it. I think it also keeps me from getting a cold, and it keeps me from Yeah, just, sometimes I'll get with people who seem to uh, wear the whole bottle of cologne in one session, and that always made my eyes water and myself sneeze. So I just wear a mask if that happens, and it filters that. So it's just a polite way. It's acceptable now, so it's a polite way rather than tell the person, dab, not pour. But those situations, you've probably been in one yourself. So now it's going to be at your discretion. So that's pretty cool. I have some little notes here. So I also wanted to talk to you about some apps. Spring break is coming around the corner. Coming around the corner. Coming around the corner is spring break. And one of the things that my husband and I have discovered, and you may have too, is that something that's a lot more fun than getting stuff is to create and have experiences. And if you're going to create and have an experience, it might be nice to have some help with travel. So I may or may not have mentioned to you, I think I did, about my husband and him retiring, and that I created the coffee experience for him. And as a result, I am reaping the benefits. He is making some killer coffees here at home, and I'm really enjoying it, and he's really enjoying it. It makes me so happy to see how happy he is enjoying it. But we went up to New York and had the experience. He had 2 days of coffee immersed in coffee training about how to make a really good espresso and how to make an espresso drink like a cappuccino or a latte. And he really is benefiting from all that he's learned. He's getting better and better each day. And it's really, really exciting to see how happy he is when he does this, how he selects his coffees based on how he was trained in New York, and how he's learning about certain groups of people that have gone from farm to coffee roasters to coffee sellers. One of the big ones, which is the one that we got connected with, was Joe's Coffee in New York. You can order that coffee, and Jonathan is amazing. He just wanted to bring the real coffee to the people. You may or may not be surprised that Starbucks is not it. And you'll love Starbucks. And if you love Starbucks, there's nothing wrong with Starbucks. But if you're going to get a classic, good tasting espresso, meaning no milk, no sugar, just that, then Starbucks really isn't the place for that. They're there if you want your macchiatos, your frappuccinos and things like that. That's what they're known for, is the sweet drinks, the kind of combo drinks, and stuff like that. They always do a dark coffee because most people, including myself, before I went to the training, learned that thought that that's all you get is the bitter, dark tasting coffee. That's got to be coffee. Well, thanks for playing, but that's wrong. There's all different kinds of roasts. There's light and medium and dark. And the reason a place like Starbucks or many coffee houses here in Southern California go with the darker roast is because that is what we expect when we order a cup of coffee. We're not necessarily open to, or do we know about the other roasts. But my husband wanted to know and learn about everything like this and how to make a really good cup of coffee. He has no designs on being a barista. He has no plans on opening a shop. This was what he called an experience to learn for the experience and the experience alone, which is why I watch KTLA 5 News here in my area. I am a big fan of it. I used to know Gene Autry. He was a big part of KTLA 5 back in the day. My dad used to work for their sister radio station, KMPC, and I met Gene Autry and his wife several times when I was a little girl and just fell in love with the personal touch that KTLA 5 gives me. So when I watch the news, it's always KTLA 5. Now, I do have to say that I also watched KNBC4 because that's Comcast Universal, and my husband worked with them. So you never bite the hand that feeds you. You always participate in the one that is that is helping you survive in life. So I always watch Channel 4 as well, but I usually would watch Channel 4, or in my case, that's Channel 4 being in my area, but it's really NBC, whatever your NBC channel is. I used to watch the KNBC news, meaning it was more local topics, and they had a KNBC nightly news that they did that I would watch. But most of the time I'm KTLA 5, and the reason is because they're super local. I know the people very well, as though they're part of my family. Your Gail, she always goes out and tells you about local things that are happening in the area. Ran into Gail one time when I was doing the Tournament of Roses here for Pasadena, and that was a lovely experience. And then you also have several other people like your Sam Rubin, and in this case, we've got, as you saw, I put on the thumbnail, Rich on Tech. I've watched Rich several times, and now Rich has his own channel, podcast, where he talks a lot about tech things that you might be interested in. He's often going to the tech show and telling you about new tech. So today, while watching Channel 5, Rich on Tech, and that's, let me see, that's Rich on Tech TV. Rich on Tech TV. So Google that. I think it's a .com, forgive me. But Rich on Tech TV, and you can learn about some of these apps I'm going to tell you about that he told me about, some that I used, some that I didn't. And I thought I'd share it with you if you're planning on how can I put together something that makes an experience. Some of the ones he told me about today were Pack Point. I don't use Pack Point. I am a really good packer, but that doesn't mean that Pack Point, which is an app, wouldn't be something you want to check into. It actually helps you make lists of what you need before your trip, and also helps you generate them, and also helps you, make sure you've got them all in your suitcase or travel bag. The other one he talked about was Tripsy. Now, Tripsy, spelled TRIPSY, is one where you can organize your trip, and then you can share it with friends and family. I would say, I haven't done it, but I'm going to look into it. Tripsy sounds interesting if you're going to take a trip and you have spots along the way, and you just want to let those people know you're going to be in that area for a day or two or a week or whatever you're going to do, so that you might want to connect for a coffee, a cocktail, dinner, or whatever. That sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? We're thinking, my husband and I, about doing Route 66, because I'm about to be 66 years old. My husband just turned 66, and I turned 66 in June. So we're thinking of taking Route 66 at age 66. So this might be, Tripsy might be a way that you could plan your travel itinerary with Tripsy. So that's what that's about. And then Rich also suggested, if you haven't looked at Rich on Tech and you're not really knowing where you can find KTLA, because it is KTLA, but you can stream it if you want to. But I mean, if you're in California or whatever, but you can from everywhere get Rich on Tech TV. Okay, so it might be richontech.tv, but just Google Rich on Tech, because I apologize. My handwriting I was writing really fast, so I can't read it now. But he's really, really good for stuff like this. And you can ask him questions. I've never asked him questions, but pretty awesome and super cool. He also points out a couple of things that can be helpful to you. Hotels.com, which I have used. The nice thing about hotels.com is you can type in like the address, and it shows you hotels all in the area, or even along your trip road. And TripAdvisor is really nice if you're thinking of taking a trip. People like myself go in and type in there and tell what's a good trip and one you might want to avoid. TripAdvisor's been around. TripAdvisor's been around for a while, and I like it because it's a great way to figure out, should I stay in in that spot or not, and kind of gives you the pros and cons of staying in a spot that sounds good at first, but maybe not be all good, or it sounds good and then it's really good later in life. Uh, I will tell you one that I don't think I announced it on TripAdvisor, but I'll tell you right now that when you go to Hawaii, when you go to Honolulu, a lot of you love Disney and you automatically want to go to the Alani. It's a lovely hotel, but if they haven't changed that major restaurant that is expensive to eat, it's terrible. The food in that was absolutely awful. So if you go there and you want to stay at the Alani, it's a beautiful hotel. It has a lot of fun things for you, especially if you have children. But there are places that you just walk across the street and can get better food. Okay, I'm going to say it straight up because I tell you the truth. You can get much better food if you get in your car and drive around Honolulu. It has some beautiful areas, or check out TripAdvisor and see what might be good to do. And if you want restaurants in your area, Rich suggests Out of the Office.com, or Out of the Office app. Sorry, not .com. Out of the Office for looking for restaurants in the area that are good to eat. People post in that app as to what restaurants are good to eat at in the area all over the country. So I haven't been there yet, but it sounds good. The other thing that's kind of cool is Flighty, which helps you to keep track of your flights. You may have to upgrade and actually pay a little bit in that app to get the best. I've never used Flighty, but I tend to use, I'm a big fan of Delta Airlines. So the Delta app keeps me updated. And they update me. I flew Delta last year for a show I do, and the Delta app was amazing in keeping me updated. Like, let me know when one of them was canceled or I was going to miss my flight or whatever, and kind of helped me get to where I needed to go. So I like to kind of have the app that's connected with the airline. But if you're some of those people who want to look for the least expensive flight to get to where you're going, this Flighty won't help you there, but it will help you to make sure that what flight you have will tell you that it's doing well. He did mention inexpensive flight. He did mention that he can show you how to find the flights you want, inexpensive flights in the area that you like, but you've got to go to Rich on Tech TV. So why don't you go there, check it out? I'll go there too and check it out. I decided not to go there and then usurp his hook, because you really should check him out. He's so good and so helpful. And then you can actually ask him questions on his podcast, which I haven't done yet, but if I needed to, I would. A lot of times when I had technical questions, I would ask Leo Laporte, but Leo Laporte retired this year. He does still have a podcast, I believe, but he retired from being on radio. So I'm going to miss him. But, everybody has the right to retire. I am semi-retired and my husband retired, and it's doggone cool. So there you go. That's what I wanted to share with you, was the apps, because I thought that would be something fun and wonderful to do. Please be careful. We've had a lot of rain in California, and one of the things that happened in Laguna Beach was that there was a huge sinkhole that happened and ate a SUV. In fact, the person whose SUV, it was his SUV, he was standing on his porch with the keys and about to go get in that SUV when it disappeared into the giant sinkhole, thus creating a gas leak, thus creating people being evacuated for a while yesterday. So what is my point? My point is this: mudslides and landslides, avalanches and sinkholes can happen when it's not raining. It doesn't have to be raining in order for these phenomena to occur. A lot of times what happens is, as the ground heats up, the land expands and contracts, and that can sometimes cause a landslide, an avalanche, and mudslides. So please be careful when you're driving in areas where the street is only 2 lanes, like a Beverly Glen or a Coldwater Canyon. Those of you in Southern California know what I mean. It can be a real mess if one of the littlest things happens and the mountain comes down, you can't get out because it's only cross traffic. You follow me? So just be careful. Watch out for that. Because we are having some very, very wild, unusual weather, which I absolutely love, by the way. Let me point out, these are the numbers that I like, but I don't like it affecting the people that it's affecting. So caution, caution, caution when you're out there, okay? All right, cool. And finally, Academy Awards are coming up this Sunday. Woo! Have you seen the movies? Do you have your favorite? Are you going to watch, or are you just bored? Everyone, there's all walks of life watching this channel, but you'll know that I am a complete and total movie buff, so I will be in the chair watching them by myself. I have a mouth on me, you probably have noticed, and I don't watch the Academy Awards with anyone but me, myself, and I. So I plan a tray, I get there, I watch it because I yell at the TV. Those of you in sports who yell at the TV know what I'm talking about. And I know this much about sports, and I care this much about sports, but I love the movies. So I can always equate with all of you who love sports, no matter what the sport, how I am exactly the same way you are. If there was a tailgate party for the Academy Awards, the day before or something, I would be there talking the movies with people, having the hot dogs or the burgers or whatever you guys do for your tailgate parties for sports. So I understand your fandom. I really do. But I have to equate it to my fandom for movies, especially the Academy Awards. That happens this Sunday, and I am so stoked to see him. That's the 12th. I'm excited to watch it and see which movie. I will say that unlike, I've been watching the Academy Awards since I was 3 years old, and I never miss it. Okay, I think I missed it one time because I was sick, and I was sick and in hospital, so I couldn't watch it in hospital. I was too sick. But I've seen it every other time, and that time my family recorded it for me so that I could watch it, and I was younger, so it was a VHS. Those of you who collect VHSs, giant big VHS machine where the container popped up and you slid the giant tape inside there and pushed it down, and your remote was attached to it because it was a cord. There was no Bluetooth, there was no Wi-Fi back in that day, but they did record it on VHS for me so that I could watch it when I got well. And we made sure not to tell me any of the winners or anything. I didn't watch the news so I could pretend I did not know it and could discover it for myself. Much like when you guys record a game, those of you who are sports minded, or you like something and the foot's going to fall, you don't want to do spoilers. So I'm serious. I get it. I get it. I understand completely what you're doing. It's just not in my wheel. Sports are just not in my wheelhouse. Just don't. I will say there's a caveat on that. I have two very, very good friends that the Lopez brothers, who are basketball players. They're built like giant sequoia trees. Very, very lovely guys. And I went and saw them play, but I was there because I like them more than the sport. I didn't understand the sport. I had with me my son and my cousin who love sports, so they could explain to me basically basketball. Now my son, Ian, who is actually Lindsay's son, he sat next to me when he was a kid and would explain it to me because he used to play basketball in high school, and he explained to me what's going on. What is a 3-point, and why did that guy get fouled, and what does traveling mean, all that kind of stuff. He was right there in my ear kind of explaining it to me so that I could go to his games. But again, I went to games because he was in them, to watch him play more than to watch people play. Not in it so much that my cousin had to tell me who this guy who had this like really weird beard and facial hair. It was like I didn't understand the concept of what he was doing, and he said, "Oh, that's LeBron James," and I was like, "Oh, that's LeBron James." So you need to understand that if you don't travel in certain circles, you might not know what other people know, even though they'll be shocked that you don't know this person. It's just the circles that you travel. Being a sculptor and a creator, I spend most of my time just listening to movies I've already listened to. I can't listen to music. I love music, but I have to do it. I cannot listen to it while working because I dance to it. I sway to it, even if it's classical. So it has to be a movie that I know really, really well, or a series that I know like the back of my hand. And that way it plays in my head, and I can work while it plays in my head. I don't even look at a screen. I just have it in the back like radio, and then that's how I work on my art. So it to each their own is basically what I'm saying. And the Academy Awards are my Super Bowl. So I'm super, super excited for the film Super Bowl Academy Awards to see what happens. This year, I will say, though, a lot of the movies that I watched, and I've seen every single one, except for some of the shorts and some of the documentaries, they weren't all available for me to watch. But I've watched every single animation. If I could see it, I've watched it. Whenever I can see it, I've watched it or sampled it. And that's just my, if you're a statistician with your sports and stuff, it's good to know all the teams and stuff. Sometimes you guys bet and gamble. I do not, but I do like to kind of see. I kind of like to learn about all of the ones that have been nominated, and the things that I have missed out on. I've already marked my list, which is right here. But the ones I haven't been able to see, not that you may or may not be interested in this part of it, but I'll share it with you anyway. I've only seen a couple of documentary features. I've actually seen 3. I've seen All That Breathes, I've seen Fire of Love, and I've seen Navalny. And I haven't seen A House Made of Splinters, and I have not seen All the Beauty and Bloodshed. So I'm not going to vote on that one because I haven't seen all 5. I have an integrity about seeing all 5. I also haven't had the opportunity to see all of the animated short films. They are in some theaters, I think, around the area, but this is tax season, so I've been very, very busy. So I don't know if I can scoot out and see him before the Academy Awards. So I may be subject to whatever wins. I hope that someone might show that somewhere so I can watch it. I also did not get to see documentary short films. I haven't been able to see any of those. And I haven't been able to see the live action short films. I did get to see Les Pupilles, The Pupil. And I think that's the only one I got to see of that. But I've seen the rest. I've seen all the rest. I have seen all. Well, international feature film. I haven't seen EO, and I haven't seen The Quiet Girl out of Ireland, but I've seen the rest. So everything else I've seen. And I will tell you that this year's films seem to be meh, meaning meh. I looked at all of them, and some are exciting, some are not, but many are just meh for me. So it's going to be very interesting to see which one gets it. As you know, a lot of people are all very, very excited about Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I have to tell you that film, although was not my cup of tea, is new, different, and an exciting film. Many people, I think, are loving it because it's something they haven't seen before. It's chaotic, it's crisp, it's clever, it's crazy. It's just not my cup of tea. It does have Michelle Yeoh. I love her. She's amazing and fantastic. And there's a very good chance she could win Best Actress this year. And if she does, I'm going to be cheering for her as a human being because she's an amazing lady. And she's worked very, very hard in the career. I've known her since the Jackie Chan days when she was his top martial artist in a lot of his movies. She's just magnificent. And a lot of people kind of discovered her with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, even though she had been in films since she was like a baby. But that's a US film. And so people were like, wow, she's really good. Well, there was so much before that. But so I followed her career for a while. Love her, love her, love her. And she deserves it. Should she win it, she deserves it. Another one who is really good as far as the Best Actress category was Cate Blanchett in Tar. Tar is a very unusual, intriguing film. And the question you're going to ask yourself is it real or not? That's kind of what's going on with that film. Very interesting, really good, very exciting. And then So basically, what I'm saying, if Banshee should take it, I won't be sad because the directors were incredible as far as uh, directing chaos. It's very chaotic. I really don't know how they did it. So I was impressed by that, even though it's a movie I'll never watch again. It's just not my cup of tea. Jamie Lee Curtis was fantastic in it, and I've loved Jamie Lee since she was a little girl. Uh, Maybe I exaggerate, but I did see her in a movie called Halloween, and I loved her. She was always the heroine, and she was the one that rises to the occasion and makes the does the right, rights all the wrongs, and she's just fantastic. So I've been a fan of hers for a long time, since she was a scream queen, as they call her, all the way into legitimate film and beyond. So are these two women deserving? Absolutely they are, and I will be cheering them on. However, I do have actors that I also liked that have surprised me. Brendan Fraser in in uh 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 in The Whale. I absolutely, a hard movie to watch, but he is amazing. And Brendan, I've worked with him on several films. I worked with him on a lot of films that he did, Monkey Bone, George of the Jungle, things like that. And he's a lovely, lovely human being. And he's also a really good actor. He really isn't Dudley Do Right. He did that because they were fun and they were things he admired, but then people kind of labeled him as that kind of a kitschy actor, and he really isn't a kitschy actor. If you've ever seen Gods and Monsters, you can see how very, very good he is, how deep he digs, and how well he performs. So I'd like to see him win it for Best Actor this year. I really am in his corner, and there's a ton more. But most of these films, I'm going to tell you, I don't know how they got made. Um, Elvis, which I loved the actor who played Elvis. Of all the people who have done renditions of Elvis, you get a lot of those coming across the screen. And maybe you're someone who said, oh gosh, not another Elvis movie. It actually focuses on a character played by Tom Hanks. But Tom Hanks' accent in that is so not good that it distracts. It's so painful that I don't know if people will actually focus on this young man's performance. And it's a real shame because he is very, very good. I love the choices he made. Maybe he worked with the director on that. A lot of times actors do. Being an actor myself, more of a character actor am I. But really, really incredible young man. And he went with he there are times when he turns that he really looks like him, but what really helps is the heart of Elvis. And I thought that was fantastic. And then Maverick, you notice that the Screen Actors Guild, of which I watched and also voted because I am a screen actor in the Screen Actors Guild, I am a union member. I really, really thought it was great that Maverick won for stunts because that movie really needed to be acknowledged. And so I'm really glad that Maverick was acknowledged in the 10 movies that were Best Picture. I don't see it winning, but I'm really glad that it got acknowledged because it was a really terrific film. I liked it better than the first one, Top Gun, which for a lot of you will be saying something because I just love the way that they handled Val Kilmer, who is ailing, and they knew it, but they really wanted him to be in the movie, and they really they used loving, wonderful, sweet kid gloves with him and just did a great job. And that was my favorite sequence, was between him and Tom Cruise. So I love the film. I thought that was a really good film, and I'm really, really glad that it got nominated because it deserved to be nominated. It won't win, but it deserved to get nominated. Um, and then there's movies in there. We'll talk about it later, but Triangle of Sadness, I was like, no, thank you. The Fablemans, not my cup of tea. I really love the history of Steven Spielberg. I worked with him on a couple of films, but the thing is that it really didn't feel like a Spielberg film. It looked like Spielberg lended his name to the film and another filmmaker made it. It just felt off to me. There are some great acting performances in it, but I think that's in spite of the film, not because of the film. You may disagree, and feel free to post in the comments if you do. You have every right to say, Terry, I think you're full of bananas. But that's the case. And I think that's it. Oh, women talking. No, absolutely no. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm just gonna say no to this one. Watching this one was like, oh heck no. Okay, so a lot of them, a lot of things happening that are kind of meh, but I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm gonna be very excited about it. Um, um, let's see, we've got. Yeah, I think I would have loved to have seen, a couple of other films get nominated, like Till, Till. I thought that was an incredible film and done great well. So, I have my choices as well, but we'll see what the Academy says. The Academy does their own thing. You cannot use prior award shows to judge what the Academy does. They are their own entity, and that's why I love them, because you never know what is going to fall. And hopefully, we won't have something that takes away from the awards, like the incident that happened last year. Not a fun thing to experience. And I will bet you that parties involved, with the exception of Chris Rock, are very sorry they did anything, because Chris Rock is going to take that to the bank and then some. He was given gold, even though it was a really not cool thing to do. Chris Rock is one of those people who is going to make lemons out of lemonade every single time. And these were some hell lemons, if you know what I'm talking about. Not going to mention it, but you know what I'm talking about. He has a special, a stand-up special on Netflix, and I hear it's intense and it's frank and it's out there. But then that's what Chris Rock has always been. So he's not doing anything he hasn't done before, and except he speaks about this incident. So I'm hoping everything will go well, that the Academy won't be dull as dirt. A lot of people are kind of meh about watching it. I understand if that's you. This is my Super Bowl, so of course I'm there. Unfortunately, it doesn't have those cool commercials that the Super Bowl has. That would be really fun if the Academy got cool commercials. But let's face it, the past few Academies award shows have been pretty dull and just kind of so we're hoping that they spice it up so that it'll be fun and entertaining. And I understand they brought some of the categories back that we were all angry about, when they said, oh, we're just going to push them off and just do a short show with the things we think are important. And of course, all of us like all the categories, especially me. Okay, their cinematography very important, costumes very important, makeup really important. All of that to me, effects, all of it, I want it all. So hopefully that'll be the case. Okay, guys, here we go. I know you've been patient. Let's hear what you have to say. I think I covered everything that I promised, and let's hear what you have to say today. Veronica, hello, Veronica Dempsey, and welcome. Not all of California. That would take hell freezing over where I am. Yes, exactly. But I mean, there's a lot of spots. And that's why I wanted you to know that if your city is not on there, you still have an obligation to get your taxes in by April 18th. When the news announces it, they kind of do it in a generality. And I want to make sure that you understand that you got to dig a little deeper, because you don't want to be late, especially if you owe. Good morning, everyone, says Joe Penny. Nice to see you enjoying your coffee while being snowed under 20 feet of snow in beautiful downtown Birmingham. I almost said I wish, but no, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It was scary enough back 10 years ago when we had this ice and snow kind of a thing, this kind of gravelly snow. Everybody was excited about it, but we had to be really careful driving in it because we never get it. So that's the situation there. But I prefer light and medium roast because there's more caffeine in the lighter roast. Most people think the darker roasts have more caffeine, but it actually is the opposite. Caffeine is not the basis for which I drink coffee. I will say that one of the things that I'm learning now that Lindsay, my husband, is making them, is that they don't give you that jittery feeling. They just make you feel more awake. You have a cup and then you're like, hey, I am awake now, not, So I think it's the way that, I don't know. It's just a really good alert feeling that I'm feeling as I do the other roasts. Also, more fruity flavors. So what I've discovered is all the darks tend to taste a lot like chocolate. And I'm not a chocolate fan. I do love See's chocolates, but chocolate is not my my go-to. My go-to is coconut. I love coconut. I love vanilla and coconut. Yum! Coconut ice cream in vanilla. I make it myself because I love coconut, and ice cream in my coconut is really great. Yummy. But the point is that what I found in the medium roast, Joe, and the lighter roast is that I taste more fruit. I taste citrus, I taste orange, I taste raspberry. And I never thought that was a possibility in coffee until Lindsay started making it and we went to the training in New York. So the experience opened my mind as well as his, and it's been a very exciting journey and continues to be. So this is why I say a journey can be worth more to you than stuff, because stuff can sometimes and oftentimes become clutter. Those of you who collect, it's good clutter, but you want to make sure that if you've gotten into your mind, you never want to sell this stuff, you have to put in place what's going to happen to it when you do need to, either when you go collect your wings. How are you, you just can't. What I've learned from a lot of people who have these massive collections of, say, Disney, for example, you want to make sure that you have plans in place for, if you do go collect your wings, that it doesn't end up at a garage sale selling for pennies on the dollar when it's worth a few $100s. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you kind of make that plan. And I'm not saying that to think that you don't, but if you haven't, you should, meaning me. This is something that I have to think and consider as I work my way towards the age of 66. Woo! Anyway, yeah, absolutely. But yes, the coffee has been really lovely because the experience continues to be a joy every time he makes it. It's a new adventure. Right now I think we have a dark, well, it might be a medium roast, but the medium roast is featuring more chocolate notes. And so when my husband asked me the question, what do you think? It's a delicious cup of coffee. It's just not my favorite. That's kind of the way I have to speak, because that's the situation. I'm learning that I love the coffees that are light roast and taste like fruit. There's nothing like tasting a cup of coffee that tastes like strawberries and yogurt. Seriously, I had one in New York. It was unbelievable. Lindsay and his teacher did it together, and it was incredible. I didn't want to give it back. And it didn't have any milk in it. I also like a cappuccino or a latte. I tend to lean towards those. But my husband has made some really great espressos that I can drink straight. I haven't yet. They're pretty intense in the caffeine, as Joe has mentioned. But a little milk kind of softens that, and I kind of like that. Plus, my dog likes the foam. I miss Stan Chambers and Hal Fishman on KTLA 5. Yeah, Hal Fishman, wasn't he lovely? So nice. And Stan, too. Both of them just adorable. And, of course, retired or passed. Super, super lovely. Yeah, I remember them. Also, KTLA did the Rose Bowl, and I loved Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards. They were my team, and I still don't think there's a better team out there. I don't know. Can you see them broadcast on YouTube? Some of their past ones, they're so great together. Sometimes they would argue. Sometimes they would, but it was just such a great, great thing to watch them. I met Stephanie at an Emmy Awards event when my husband won some Emmys, and I just had to go and tell her that she was my absolute favorite Rose Bowl broadcaster of all time. Big fan of hers. So, Joe, you're right. I mean, absolutely. Rich on Tech or Beef on... No, Rich on Tech. Yeah, he's amazing. He is amazing. And he used to just pop in occasionally from KTLA. He may have had a podcast, but now he's realizing, or is saying a lot, forgive me, a piece of pepper, that he's letting you know where he is and kind of giving you like a little lead to come in and learn about certain things if you want to learn about how to save on airlines and stuff like that. So I decided to share the apps with you, but then throw it over to him, and I'll be going over there. So why not follow me? Yeah, Rich on Tech TV. Very, very wonderful, talented guy. Tripsy sounds like a drunk travel. It does, doesn't it? But it helps you remember, I've often thought these app creators sometimes that the app is too long, but something like Tripsy is very cute. And made me remember it, just like TripAdvisor. At first I thought that was kind of long, but at least I remember it. I tend to like bookings for hotels. I am not a Airbnb person at all. They really did me a disservice and left me hanging, and I just will not give them my service anymore. But if you've had good things happen with you and them, congratulations. I just won't ever use them again. Hey, there's a band name, the Traveling Drunkards. There you go. Are you starting it, Joe? I still don't understand why people build houses in Laguna or Malibu, wealthy enclaves in places where nobody should build houses. I know, right? You really do need to do some testing if you build a house there. Okay, you need to do some seismic testing because we do have earthquakes here. So you want to make sure where you build is not sandy, not and sometimes people just don't, or they buy a house that's old when they didn't, and now's the time to do that if you're going to buy a house in these areas because it feels like success to you. For example, just check it out. Take the time to really do an analysis of that foundation and what that house is sitting on, so you don't end up with half of it going into the water. Like you may have seen the trailer park. I guess that's what I call it. Do they call it something else? Trailer Village now? Anyway, the trailer park, all these trailers that were along that could see the coast, a lot of the actual vehicles fell into the river because the ground gave way underneath where they were parked and set up, like hooked up. So very scary. One guy jumped out with his animal with the help from a friend as his was going into the water below. So yeah, guys, just be really careful. It's scary stuff out there, and you're right. It's scary. Yeah. I still have some Oscar nominees to see this week, says Joe, before the award ceremony already said. Yes, indeed. I remember you saying that, and I think it's great that you're one of the people that wants to see them all too, just like me. I like that. Already saw, but gonna try my best to get caught up on some of the others. Yeah, I'd like to see some of those, but if I don't get to, I'll at least go see the winner. But I didn't want that to be about everything. I think I've said this before. If you're an Academy member and I'm a Screen Actors Guild member, I try to see all the movies. If I'm in they have committees that nominate the movies for these award shows. And if you're on that committee, I try to watch every single film, and that is work. And so many Academy members will tell you that they wait for the cream to rise to the top, and that's how they start to choose their films. But that could, I'm not saying it does, but that could mean that a movie that really deserves some attention, and you might be able to help it along, you might miss because this is your process. But to each their own. There's a lot to be watched and a lot to be looked at. Joe also says, Joseph says, good morning, Terry. I love seeing your video from your visit to Tokyo Disney Seas and Disneyland. I'm hoping to visit by the end of the year. Yes, what's funny about that video is that whenever I go to Tokyo Disneyland, and I've been there 3 times, it's raining. I've never gotten to go, knock on wood, when it's sunny. And that makes me laugh. Every time I've gone, it's been rainy that day. Just made me have to laugh. You just got to smile and say, oh, well. But the rain always hits me on those days, which makes me laugh. Also, you'll notice that there were some situations where I was posing in front of the Splash Mountain. That's the boat and the main drop that I was awarded to sculpt. I sculpted that mountain and the main drop back here in Glendale at Imagineering. And because I was fast and got them back on track, the show producer, that's what they're called, gave me main drop to sculpt, and it's always been an honor. And also Tokyo has stated, at least this far, that they're not getting rid of Splash Mountain. So at least I can still go over there and see it when I do. Unlike Florida, I won't be able to see that. Thank you, Joseph, for saying that. Speaking of sports, this weekend was big for me. F1 racing is back, and the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is going on right now. This is huge. Plus, the American Rodeo's Western Weekend in Arlington is this week starting Wednesday at Globe Life Field, biggest paying single day rodeo, over 1 million. Wow, that sounds like fun. You're going to be busy, aren't you? Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeed. That sounds really fantastic. Don't you get excited when it has to do with things that you love? I know that I do. Um, Maverick for the win. I know, Joseph. I know you would love that. And let me tell you, should this happen, I'll be reaching out to you on Monday to congratulate you for that pick. But I really believe it's going to be Banshees of Inisherin or Everything Everywhere All at Once. The only reason Academy doesn't usually pick. They say if you watch a movie, it kind of tells you ahead. They could easily pick Everything Everywhere All at Once. There is nothing in the crystal ball that says that they would not. And if they do, like I said, I won't be upset like I would have been last year with that dog movie. Just did not like it and was really glad when it did not win. But if this one should win, even though I'm rooting for Banshees of Inisherin, they really did some good work in there. So I will be happy for them should they win. I won't be like, oh man, I won't be that. But excuse me, my dad is still very much on my mind and still in hospital. So let's see what's happening. Yes, that's true. Okay, something that's like immaterial right now. But anyway, so Austin Butler is from Anaheim. I'm also rooting for Brendan Fraser, but if Austin wins, I won't be mad. He did an awesome job. Yes, indeed. Indeed, indeed. Let me just look here. No. You know what's weird? Oh, here we go. Best actor, Austin Butler. Yeah, I see what you're saying. He did a great job. He did a great job. Forgive me, Joe. I don't know the names of people. I just know the movies. But I will tell you that I don't even know why I don't even know why I did this. This is so wrong. Thank you, because I realized I did a wrong here. There we go. Yeah, I won't cry. He did a great job in Elvis, but Colin Farrell, I think, is a real strong runner. But I think Brendan has got this one. It's so, what's really nice about the Brendan Fraser performance with a lot of people is they think that it's something he's never done before. And he did in Gods and Monsters. So, I mean, he did some serious acting, is what I'm saying. One of the things that actors will tell you is that the brain of people, casting directors in specifically, directors and casting directors specifically, will label you on your body of work that you've done recently. So Jack Nicholson, for example, when he was younger, was doing all of this drama. In fact, I wasn't a fan of his acting in a lot of the dramatic stuff he did. And also then he did some comedy, like what is it, The Witches of Eastwick or whatever. Oh, I couldn't stand that movie with him in it. Blah, blah, blah. But now lately or recently, he's been doing these dramatic films as an older guy and funny ones as an older guy, and great at both. He started to do a couple of comedies that are just brilliant, as good as it gets. And Something's Got to Give, two of my favorite films with him in it, and Diane Keaton. I wasn't a fan of hers when she was young either, but I love them both as older people. They've absolutely been a joy for me. But I once heard Jack Nicholson speak, because as a screen actor, a lot of times they will bring actors forward live. We haven't done it as much live in the past few years because of the pandemic, but it is starting to come back. And you can go and sit and listen to them live, which is wonderful. Gives you the opportunity to ask your questions if they open it to your questions. And if not, Then the commentator asks the questions and you kind of are there. They gave me a chance to speak with Robin Williams one point after I had done a sculpture for him as an Imagineer. Anyway, I digress. Jack Nicholson said that he was really excited and wanted to audition for the Valley of Ayla, the one that has Jones, um, that actor. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones, there it is. I knew it would come. And when he called to say he'd like to audition for it, the director and the casting director said, "No, you're too comedy based." And he rolled his eyes and said, "It's just amazing at people who don't look at your full body of work." And so he was kind of saddened by that. But he says, "You may think as an actor that I could pick any role that I want, being Jack Nicholson, when in reality, I can't." Here's a perfect example of someone who just told me, "Thank you, no thank you," and hung up on me. Was this the role that Tommy Lee Jones got? And that was very profound. And so that's one of the reasons I like to go and speak with these actors about stuff like this or hear from these actors about this. And this is kind of what was happening to Brendan. In fact, it was kind of smart of Brendan to lay low. Maybe he did theater or whatever, and then came back and got this dramatic role to prove that he has what it takes. I've always known that about him. He's been very strong. I've loved him, Gods and Monsters. And I actually have that movie, and we watched it the other day, and it does not disappoint. It's just a brilliant performance by him, and it gets you. So he's my dog in the hunt. He's the one I'm voting for. He's the one I voted for, and I'm feeling very strong the Academy will give it to him, and he deserves it. I can't wait to hear his speech. I'm excited. That's one thing about these performers who have done something and maybe in their mind thought maybe this is a goal that I will never attain, and then when they attain it, they say such beautiful speeches. It's not a long list of thank you to everyone, although they feel like they should do that, because sometimes if a person's name's not mentioned, they get angry with you and don't cast you again. Isn't that a shame? But it would be lovely if they just could speak their heart in an Academy Award and not have to thank everybody. We know they're thankful, we know they're grateful, but just to be able to speak their heart like Michelle Yeoh did during Screen Actors Guild. She and Jamie did wonderful thank you speeches. And I know that should they win this time, they'll do the same, and Brendan as well. And it's just going to be exciting. You may remember Sally Fields when she won. "You like me, you really like me," I thought was just precious, precious, precious. I'll never forget that time in the Academy Awards, and was very, very happy to be a witness to that, because she was just nothing but adorable and honest and heartfelt. And we were really glad that she got it. So that's really cool. And then, of course, the woman who played Nurse Ratched, I remember when she won for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now I'm going way back. This is to prove to you I do watch them every single year. But she actually stood up, so grateful, holding back tears, and signed to her deaf parents live on and during the speech, so her parents could hear her and understand her thanking. And that just warms me. I just out to her. And I loved One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Jack Nicholson. And not funny, dramatic, by the way. Hey, so that's what I mean. So the reason that I'm excited about Brendan Fraser this year, I started to tell you, is that it is such a different role that people think it's so different from what he normally does, and that needs to be acknowledged, I think. And I hope the Academy believes so too. So he's got a nice gold statue, because say what you will about the gold statue, it's still cool. I think it's wonderful to have one in your home, and I would love one. So I think that's congratulations. Just a little acknowledgement of your body of work, of your hard, long body of work is awesome. I mean, many people thought of Charlize Theron as a beauty lady. All of her work was pretty, pretty, pretty. She's a pretty lady. She does the pretty lady roles, pretty lady roles. And then she did Monster, not Monster, right? Monster. And it was incredible. I think people judged and thought she would never allow herself to look the way she did and be the way she did. And she was awesome in that movie. And of course, she wins an award for it. So you look at, as an actor, let me just point out, you look at the performance as your product. It's not you, it's your product that you're putting out there. Understand that you're not going to have a say as an actor about the finished product. That's producers, if you're lucky, also directors. But David Lynch will tell you with the original Dune, the one that many of you really love, that he did a 3-hour version that they told him no. He had to cut to shreds, and that was also, again, a reason you didn't get to see his full cut. But rumor has it he might now be able to show you a full cut, because there's so many of you out there that love the original Dune that want to see the original Dune. So David is thinking about maybe showing that. Wouldn't that be lovely to see his full vision of what he had? So sometimes as an actor, don't look at it as them dissing you. Okay, even though many people behind the mask will diss you, they'll say you. It's really your product that they're not loving. Keep that distance. Harrison Ford said it's very important to keep your distance between you, the person, and you, the product. Okay, if you're an actor out there, I hope this helps, because this is a very important thing that I've learned about being a character actress. I don't get a lot of auditions. I will tell you, they've gone up since I'm mixed races. I'm serious. I'm doing more auditioning because I'm mixed races. And it's a weird dynamic, guys. I'm just gonna say it's just very, very strange, because we've all seen point scoring, haven't we? Oh, look, there's a black person here. Check. Really rough to watch a film where it really feels like point scoring and not because of the acting ability. That becomes frustrating all the time, which is why we love movies like Wakanda, and we love seeing movies like Till, or movies that really dig deep and make it about cool stuff. And I have to say, that's the blessing with Everything Everywhere All at Once, because you got all kinds of people in there, and it's just seriously lovely. I will give that to them, even though the movie is not my cup of tea. It sounds like I like it, right? No, I watched it twice because I wanted to make sure I didn't like it. But I didn't like it. But I have to say that I loved it I liked it for a couple of reasons. Directing, I don't know how they even began to do something like that. Also, all kinds of walks of life are in there, and I just really love that. I love seeing a lot of people in there. Um, um, just a smorgasbord of people. Now, did they hit every race, creed, and all of that? Maybe not, but I loved it anyway. You can't please everyone, and maybe they missed a couple people here and there, but at least they did it, and I didn't feel like they were doing it for point scoring. So point scoring really drives me crazy. And we're not stupid out here. Okay, people of color are not stupid out here. We know when you're looking to just put somebody in because of their color, and I know when an audition is there because they've got a person of color that looks white but is half black. You know what I mean? Kind of a little weird there, but look at it with tolerance, no matter who you are. Okay, don't get that chip on your shoulder and be angry at everybody, because you're going to be angry and it's not good for your life. All right, tolerate and understand they need to be educated. If you have not seen The Mule, which is a Clint Eastwood film, it's one of my favorite that he's put out lately, about a man who decides to be a drug mule. And he's an older American, silver-haired American. There's a scene there that involves a flat tire. That's all I'm going to tell you. But check that out, because with tolerance, there's a scene there, and then there's also a scene of motorcyclists that he speaks with. I think Clint Eastwood takes you on this journey and teaches you that as an older person, he's set in his ways to a certain extent, but when educated, when someone kind of says something, he says something different. And it's a really good movie to look how someone older, whose culture might have been different from yours, they grew up at a different time, may simply need you to be kind, lead with love as a human being, and educate them on what they said being inappropriate. Okay? Anyway, check it out. It's called The Mule, and it's one of my favorite. And I love Clint Eastwood, and I want to meet this man because I think he's just brilliant. He's just love Clint Eastwood. I want to just have 15 minutes of his time to just say, can we discuss your journey and how much I've enjoyed watching your journey? So if you know him, tell him I'm willing to take him to lunch. Jimmy Kimmel, says Joseph Massey, is hosting. So this year may be better, but get ready for Trump bashing. Yeah, I would, see, here's the problem with that, Joseph. If you're someone who doesn't like this person, okay, I'm not even going to say the name. I said it once. That's the last time I'm going to say it. Because you realize if you do this at the Academy Award, you bash this person, he's got free advertising. So it has the opposite effect. You might want to say some things about the last president, maybe you could say it like that. But every time you say his name, is free advertising. He does not have to pay for that. You realize that? He does not have to pay for that. And now you're edifying that which you don't want to draw attention to. You see what I'm saying? Got to be careful on how you do this, because I can't think of anyone in the world who would love free advertising than this right here, right? We're going to pan off it because don't even want the name on the screen. It's my understanding that KTLA no longer does the Rose Parade. The last time Bob and Stephanie hosted was 2016, I believe. They still do the Rose Parade. Oh, yes. I watch it every year, Joe. So you are half right. You are half right in that Bob Eubanks does not do it anymore because he passed away. And Stephanie Edwards no longer does it because they just didn't see. They just did it. They wanted to change. Let's say they wanted to change. So they have been putting new people in the seat, new people in the seat, new people in the seat. Right now, I cannot remember the woman who does it. And they keep changing the guy she's opposite. This, for the last 2 years, has been the same two people, but they really don't have the chutzpah. Their product, let me say it that way, they're probably both very, very nice people, but their product does not deliver like the Stephanie Edwards and Bob Eubanks did. Bob Eubanks knew everything there was to know about horses and equestrians, kind of like you, Joe, and rodeos. And then Stephanie was all about the float. She knew about the flowers. She knew about the people. She always announced the designer, i.e. me, twice. And she just was fantastic as far as who was on the float, when the float was built, was it a self-built, who was the company if it was built by a float company, who was the designer, a la Raul Rodriguez when he was living, and so on and so forth. She knew all of the good stuff, just like a good person in sports knows the sport and knows how to call it. Yeah. And when to be right. Yeah. So these two are, I think it's Lisa Givens is the woman, and I don't remember the man. Anyway, they're probably very sweet people, but their product doesn't really deliver like it should. That being said, KTLA always first thing in the morning, and I've watched the Rose Parade as much as I do the Academy Awards. They don't do commercials at the top of, when they first broadcast the Rose Parade, which begins at 8:00 in the morning every New Year's Day, unless the New Year's Day happens on a Sunday like it did last New Year's. Then they do it they do it on the 2nd. They've done that a couple of times. What else can I tell you? If it rains, it's been a while. We haven't been rained on, but a lot of times they'll do it when it's raining too. It takes a lot to make it not happen. But yeah, and then the pandemic was one year that they didn't have it happen because of the pandemic. People couldn't get together. But they're not. I'm sure they're wonderful people. Just their product does not deliver. No, they don't know enough. They don't study enough. They don't have the stats. And I think it's very important to have those stats. I think it's nice to know as much as you can about it. I know it's a hard thing to do and difficult, especially for the holidays. And sometimes people don't get their information into you, but Stephanie and Bob were always able to do that. And I think it's because they were passionate. Their product was with passion. Let me say it that way. Yeah. My opinion, again, guys, my opinion. All of this is my opinion, right? Joseph Massey, Trump bashing is always welcome. Again, see, you just got to be careful, though, because false advertising, you're giving him, not false advertising, you're giving him free advertising. So do you want to do that? How can you be clever and advertise without advertising? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. State your mind if you want to without giving him free advertising is what I'm suggesting. My ex-husband loves coffee, and he used to go to Polly's around Second Street, Long Beach, and get freshly ground beans to make the coffee. They have a huge bean roaster there. It smells good. It always smells good, Cindy. But you may find that most of the coffees and beans that they put in there or they roast are dark because that's what most of Southern California expects. We're finding that it's very rare. When you ask somebody, why don't you like coffee? They go, because it's bitter and nasty, is what they'll say. And that's not true. That means the coffee cups that they've been having lately have been bitter and nasty. But that's not true. I thought the same, that it's dark and it has a bite, and so you put a little milk in it to calm that bite, and you can and it's tolerable. But that is not the case. And thank you for the training and to this experience that we had, that I took Lindsay on to, that I got to learn more, which is really cool. Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards were just the best and had so many wonderful nuggets of information that they would share while they hosted the Tournament of Roses on KTLA. I miss them absolutely, Michelle. And Michelle says it the best right here. She says it the absolute best right here. This is why. Yeah, I do miss them too, especially since Eubanks and the horses. I love horses and I know a lot about horses, but I didn't know. I mean, I could see myself having lunch with him and just listening to him tell me, I felt like I could spit out a breed. Appaloosa, which is an easy one. But I mean, you would talk about the standardbreds, you would talk about Clydesdales, you would talk about things that weren't Clydesdales. There's another horse that's larger than a Clydesdale, very much like a Clydesdale, called a Percheron. He just knew all kinds of horse stuff and cowboy stuff, which I enjoyed, but a lot of horse stuff, really real horse stuff, and those people in the parade who rode the horses. So like the Buffalo Soldiers, he would always give you great updates about the Buffalo Soldiers, not just do like 2 lines about it and then move on like is happening now. Yeah, there's a lot about them that I learned from Eubanks. So yeah, I miss them. Joe Penny, KTLA continues to broadcast. See, Michelle's going to tell you, Joe. Yeah, she's not past her. But they have replaced Bob and Stephanie with different hosts. See, and we all say different hosts. I think, like I said, I think I mentioned who it was. Yeah. The Big Lebowski opened 25 years ago today. Yes, and it's funny you mentioned that, Joe, because I had a problem with one of my teeth, one of my 2 rabbit teeth. One of them just broke. I had a veneer on it, and it just snapped right off. So I was grateful that you were pre-recorded on Friday. I spent the day at the dentist as he repaired it. But my husband and I had like one tooth. He said I looked like the little character in Up, the one that the old man loves, his wife, soon becomes his wife. But so he was very sweet of him to say that. But I couldn't eat, and I had trouble speaking. I had a definitely strong lisp. The people of the tribe can attest to that. I still broadcast for them that day, and but I had a real bad habit of talking like this because I was thinking that I might, live from another part of the country, and I would come around and talk like this. And so Lindsay put on the Big Lebowski because you got the dude and you got Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott, hello, dude. The best voice in the world. Sam Elliott, like many people will tell you, certain people, you don't care what they read. Well, Sam Elliott could read the phone book and I'd be there. I love that drawl. Even now, I think he's a brilliant actor, but his voice is just perfect as far as I'm concerned. Can't get near him because he's a man and I'm a lady, but I still like to think about him when I talk like this. And I was doing that. I don't know. The tooth just made me do it. The other thing that made me do it with my tooth is I kept trying to be the beaver from Lady and the Tramp, but I couldn't get the whistle down. So there you go. That's so Big Lebowski was on, and I imitated all those characters that day. Can we not do political comments on here, says Diane. I'm here to have fun, not get annoyed. Well, Diane, I agree with you. And exactly right. I really don't want to give any politicians any free advertising, It's not necessary. There's plenty of places where you can do that. So I hear you, my girl. I hear you. Hi, Terry. How are you today? I like the part when the TV character says, "Look out, the car falls off the bridge and goes underwater." He does that. He does that a lot. Yes, yes. Did you hear my announcer voice when I posted on TikTok during the snow? Live from Burbank, California, snow. Yes. So there you go, Mike, just for you. How are you today? Oh, he did it twice. Okay, just to make sure it popped up there. Anybody who thinks Jack Nicholson is a comedian absolutely never saw Five Easy Pieces, Carnal Knowledge, King of My. Exactly, exactly. But that's what they told him when he wanted to audition for Ayla, which he would have been perfect. He would have been just as good. I think if you want, you'd have two choices. You have Tommy Lee Jones' choice. Tommy Lee was the one who got the part, and then Jack Nicholson, but they wouldn't even see him. So he made a really good point of telling us that, Joe, because as actors, sometimes we think that if you're Jack Nicholson, all you have to do is point and you get the role. And he pointed out, not so, not so. I just looked it up. Bob Eubanks is not dead. He's 85. Oh, I thought he was. Did somebody say he was? Well, thank goodness he's come back then, Bob. Forgive me for saying that you passed away. That was rude of me. Hope you're not watching. I was sure that they said that's why they no longer had him there. Somebody did. And see, you just don't believe what you hear, right? Stop believing what you hear and continue to edify that person. I'm glad he's here because I love him. I love him in big, big hearts. So my humblest apologies for saying that you passed away and collected your wings, because I love that you're still here and wish you'd go back. I wish they'd have you back because you are just so much fun to have on the Rose. But it's hand in glove, really, for the Rose Parade. I miss you a lot. I miss you a lot. Terry Hardin Jackson does KTLA Parade on New Year's Day. Yeah, would I have to work, right? And they'd be like, who is this girl? What the heck is she doing in the stands? I might be like Micah. A lot of times KTLA will put kind of new people that they kind of like their personality. And Micah's one of those people. He was actually my favorite person at the Rose Parade this time because he was really into it. And we like those kind of people. I mean, he was really enjoying it, getting out there and talking about the floats and interviewing people and just big smile ear to ear. So my vote is for Micah up in the stands next year because he's got personality. And I think he'd do the study. I think he'd study. So that would be my vote, Diane. Thank you, though, for yours. Lisa Gibbons and Mark, yes, have hosted the Rose Parade since 2017. Yeah, and their product is meh. Yeah, not just doesn't do anything for me. It's not why I tune in. I tune in for commercial free, but man, I'd love to get some people with passion up there. Just don't see the passion. Honestly, I don't see it. Diane Sebo, that would be awesome. Yeah. So let's not give any more advertising. No more free advertising. Terry hosting the parade while drinking 15 cups of coffee, all brewed by her husband. Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know if that would be a moment or not, but interesting. Sam Elliott is actually from Northern California, but he has a great, wonderful drawl, doesn't he? Yeah. And we love it, don't we? Including that major mustache that never leaves his face. We love it. Yes, we love it. We love it, meaning me. We love it. Yes. Don't tell me you don't, because you do. I know you do. Liz says, Diane Sebo, I'm glad you said that. I agree with you. So, guys, we're at the end. Do something nice for someone else. And those of you who asked for no politics, we get it. We got it. I appreciate it. Don't keep talking about it because you're advertising in a different way. You get me? We'll go back to the fun stuff. Okay? All right, darlings. Love, hugs, do nice for something for someone else. It'll make you feel a lot better. I will see you live next Monday. Look for a lovely pre-recorded video on Friday. Don't know what it's going to be, but it will be something, okay? Enjoy, guys. Have fun. Be well. Glad you're here. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.